Hey guys and girls, I'm Linkssword123 and welcome to another retro throwback video about a game that I've been playing through my childhood and a game that has a very special place in my heart. In today's video we're going to talk about The Hobbit for the PlayStation 2, GameCube, Xbox, the original one and PC. This game is very iconic in my game collection, basically because it's a game that I keep returning to every time I want to play a good old PlayStation 2 game that stands out a little bit from the other ones. There's no doubt about The Hobbit really reminds me about Zelda, but it's more like a level-based game. Each level, each area is basically settled in a level. So it's not a free play, it's not a free roam game, right? And in The Hobbit you start out as Bilbo Baggins, which is our main protagonist, which gets a really nice meeting, an unexpected meeting with the dwarfs and the wizard Gandalf. The Hobbit is a prequel to the Lord of the Rings, if you guys and girls didn't know that. Well, these dwarfs takes Bilbo on a journey which is life-changing for Bilbo. Bilbo is a really safe and really comfy hobbit living in Hobbiton, the Shire, which is a really nice place actually. Well, this journey Bilbo will experience a lot of different things. He will meet new people and basically have an extreme battle with goblins and spiders and dragons and you name it. So I remember I was playing this game with my girlfriend at the time. I was really young. It was just my girlfriend, not my we wasn't together, right? Well, we was playing this game together at her place, and it was really nice because this game really reminded me about Zelda at the time, and Zelda was the very first franchise that I was playing. Well, the Hobbit really changed something in me because it was a really nice feeling that you got while playing this game. First of all, the music is perfect fitting for this game. Normally it's really dramatic orchestra music in Lord of the Rings games and also the movies and stuff like that, but in the Hobbit game it's more like outlandish, more Celtic sounding, and it's way more nicer sounding. It's more silent, it's more it makes a feeling in you that I really like. I really love Celtic music, and for sure that's one of the main things that I like with this game. I have actually uploaded the soundtrack for YouTube, so you can just go on my channel, search The Hobbit game full soundtrack or something like that, and you will be able to listen to it. Actually the music changes a lot through the game, because in the start it's more happy because it's just back in the Hobbiton and it's really nice, and Bilbo doesn't know what he goes into here on this journey. But when he starts out his journey, he actually gets thrown into something really outrageous for his kind, because hobbits is basically really safe people. They doesn't do anything out of their range. They don't go out of the Shire and stuff like that. And Bilbo gets through caves filled with goblins and worms and stuff like that. And it's really nice to see. You don't feel Bilbo that much in this game. That's a worst thing. But you can really play through different areas and try to fight new enemies, and it changes a lot from area to area, and that's really nice because it's not just the same goblins that appears in every single level. It's really changing. For example, the second level afterwards, Hobbiton, it's roast mutton, which is basically just like a swamp area. Shrek could actually live there, if you know what I mean. So this place is really swampy looking, and he will see some different weird looking wild creatures, as the game says they are. So these enemies will only appear in this specific area, and they really fit perfectly in for the area, I think. Later on in the game, Bilbo appears to be in a little small city on a lake. Actually, it's called Lake Town, so it basically says everything. Well, this place is my favorite in the whole game because, first of all, the music is perfect. I really do love the sound in this specific area. It's also the background music for this video, just so you know. So if you really like that too, make sure to check that out on my channel too. Well, at Lake Town we got these wooden houses. It's basically a whole city built on pillars in the water. It's really nice, and I love the idea about that. I remember about reading the story about the Hobbit. It's really well imagined in the game form, I think, and I actually think the game is way better than the actual movie was. Actually, movies, because there are 3 of them, for God's sake. And it's just really well fitting the Celtic music, and especially these wooden houses, and we got these yellow looking windows, and it was a really cozy area, and I just felt it that much. I really loved Lake Town, man, really. Well, another place in the game, Bilbo also appears in caves, actually in 2 levels, I guess, and it basically, it's really nice because the book doesn't have any images or anything, so you can't imagine it. You need to imagine it. You can't just take it out of the idea from the book. And I really think these caves is made into something really nice and really entertaining areas, because we got some spikes going out of the walls, and Bilbo, it's a really jump and slash game, right? So Bilbo needs to jump a lot, he needs to solve some puzzles, it's also another good thing, and he just needs to explore areas. And every time you retry the game and replays it, it's basically I think the first times that I was playing this game through and over again, I've been playing through this game like millions of times. I basically explored new areas each time, because at each level Bilbo can find courage points and silver pennies, and there is a limit for that. So you can see how many of the silver pennies, for example, you have collected of, for example, 2,000 or something like that in the area. So it's really nice, and I really like that idea. It's a really basic thing, but it's just really nice. I just love that idea. Well, and if you sometimes you just can't imagine the way to get the last courage points, so you need to go back in the game and so on. It's alright, but it can also be a little bit frustrating, because if you have finished the level, you can only see, you can see how many courage points you got in the specific level throughout your playing the level, but sometimes you just don't think about that, and when you have beaten the level, the game automatically saves, so basically then you need to start over a new file and yeah, beat the game until this specific stage. It can be a little bit frustrating, but yeah, you just need to take your time, right? Another thing is, if you combine all the cutscenes, it's actually feeling like a real movie for some reason. I think it's really awesome to combine all the different cutscenes and just watch the game movie, whatever you want to call it. It's really fitting like a Hobbit movie, probably for kids, because it's not a very deep story that appears in this game, but it still has the elements from the Hobbit and from the book for sure, and it also keeps up to all the different things that are happening through the book. It also appears in the game, and I really like that. I think the movies was really great, but they didn't live up to the standard this game gave the franchise, because the Hobbit game really did something that I couldn't imagine about the Hobbit. I read the book before playing the game, and this game just reimagined my vision on the Hobbit book, really. Also, Bilbo meets this dragon called Smaug, which is a giant ass red dragon, which guards this gigantic treasure based on gold, diamonds, and all this. And in this level, for sure you need to have a level with the giant dragon. You don't need to fight him because another guy does that. He shoots it with a black arrow, but that's another story. Bilbo needs to sneak through this gold, and if he touches the gold for more than 3 seconds or something like that, a little meter will go up and you will wake up Smoke. And I really like this idea because it has this kind of spookometer, also appears in Grand Theft Auto, whatever you wanna refer to that. But it was really made well. It was really fitting for the game, and I really think Sierra and the real game producers here did a great job to combine the ideas and the gameplay to the actual story. It's a really great way to do that. Also, you will basically see most of the areas that appears in the book also in the game, and I really like that because it's not much of a video or movie based video games that will contain so much of content from the original source, whatever, if it's a book or a movie. I think it's really rarely seen, but The Hobbit, it does the job really. Also, we got another level which is called Flies and Spiders, and I remember I was really scared of spiders when I was younger, but in this damn area, and it was filled with so many spiders and poisonous water that Bilbo could touch, and necromancers, yeah, some kind of ghost knights, whatever you want to call them, and those was pretty nice, and they could basically kill you really quick. The thing I will say about that is just the enemies changes a lot, and you can clearly see and hear while playing the game. You have some different meetings with different enemies and different people that you need to talk with. For example, the people that appears in Lake Town isn't the same people that appears in other towns in this game, so it's also really detailed, and it's especially really well made. The last thing I want to say is basically the weapons that you're using is your stick and the sword Sting, which is a elvish blade that glows in dark. It's really nice, and it's also appearing in the book, and it's basically one of the main things that is happening in the book. Well, you can upgrade these by finding different scrolls around each level, which will give you new attacks. You can load up each weapon to make a stronger attack and such. It's really nice. It's really simple, but it works really well because sometimes you need to solve puzzles to make these kind of things happening, so you can get the scroll, or else you need to think, and it can be really hard sometimes because some of the puzzles, damn, you really need a good brain, man. Well, you also got your throwing rocks, and you can actually collect some ice stones or fire stones that you will be able to throw at different enemies to stun them. For example, they will appear in fire if you throw a ice stone at them, so they will burn to death, or they will freeze to death if you throw a ice stone at them. The very last thing I just want to say is the puzzles. We got very different puzzles that appears in the game. Sometimes you need to solve a little puzzle, a little brick puzzle, so you need to combine some different stones that needs to look like some kind of symbol, and sometimes you, for example, needs to press different buttons in the correct order and such on. It's really original puzzles that we have seen out in many different games, but I really like them in this kind of way because they're not too hard, but they're not too easy too, so you need to think a little bit. Some other puzzles can be really frustrating. For example, a little gateway that has iron bars in front of it. You have no idea how to open that, and then you realize you need to go from the other way of this little entrance. And how do you get to that point? Well, you need to basically solve the whole fucking level, and then you need to go back in the level to the specific point, and you will be able to go in there. It's it's alright, and it makes sense in some way, but it can also be a little bit frustrating. At least when I was 7, when this game was available for my age, well, I would never think about that. But it just gives the replayability a really huge kind of form, because you can always explore new areas, you can always do different things different than you did in the other playthrough you did. So it's a really nice game on that point too. So that was my best memories about the Hobbit, and I just want to say, if you haven't played this game before, make sure to do it. You can also get it for PC, or else get it for emulators. Well, I don't want to promote any emulator stuff, but yeah, it works, and it still does in 2018, 19 for sorry, yeah. And you can keep playing this game over and over again if you like adventure games and a more friendly, a more younger kind of playthrough of a game that basically is based to kids. But it doesn't matter if you like the game, just fucking play it. That's what I'm trying to say. So I hope you was enjoying this video, guys and girls. Make sure to throw a like after it. Make sure to tell me your memories about this game, or what I need to do next in my retro throwback videos. And until then, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for much more content. Have a nice day, guys and girls. See ya!